friends are my power.
Bienvenue, Power Bottoms. Welcome back to Nerd Explosion, the weekly podcast where based on a monthly theme, we nerd out, but whatever we want. As always, I'm your host, Cameron, and that is Caitlin. I'm introducing her for you because she is dying of laughter right now.
That fucking spun me. I was not prepared for that.
I thought last second, I'm like, what if I just throw her off with some weird intro?
Bienvenue, Power Bottoms.
Bienvenue, Power Bottoms. But anyway, we're continuing Kingdom Hearts month today, and I think we got a good episode for you guys today. What? Oh man, you want to crack it? Okay, fine, do it.
So let's crack into it.
Thank you for opening my drink for me, even though I'm a grown adult and I can open my own beverage.
You're so welcome.
For anybody wondering, it's an Arizona green tea. But today we're doing Kingdom Hearts stuff, and I kind of wanted to do like a Organization 13 tier list. I was going to include a Smash or Pass aspect of it, but considering two people on this list are literal children, that's
That gets into a little bit of a territory.
You're going to end up in a list somewhere with that.
For sure.
But yeah, we're just doing like a tier list thing. Now I got my tier maker here, and I also have a book. I have an actual book, like physical media. Like if I can just physical book that I can read from. I actually got this for my birthday. It's from Dark Horse Books. I don't know if there's a specific author. It literally says nowhere, but yeah, I got that to read off of for some, like character descriptions and whatnot. So
shout out to Sam from Anime Summit podcast.
Shout out to Sam from Anime Summit. But before we get into this episode, new episodes of this podcast come out every Saturday. So do all the things I do, all the stuff. Come on, we've been over this. I don't know how many times. If you aren't, paying attention to that by now, then there is no hope. But with that, let's rank some Organization 13 members, shall we? Alright, so rules for this tier list that we're doing. Now, the good thing with Kate being here is that she can offer an unbiased opinion on a lot of these organization members. And I want to kind of rank them based on, like, likability, like how much I like their character, their boss fight, how, fun or difficult or just downright annoying the boss fight was. Just kind of some stuff from the book and just overall, like, what I think of them. Now, do keep in mind, this is just our personal opinion. If you rank these people any different, then that's your business, but don't yell at me for my business. So, starting off here, I'm just going over, like, in this book, the Kingdom Hearts character files, just kind of going off first one in here, we have our boy Roxas. Roxas, Sora's nobody, who follows his connection with his friends back to them after uniting with Sora. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Roxas is best boy. I really liked his character. Like, I actually felt for him because he's Sora's nobody, but he wants to be his own person, like, so bad. And the whole thing with his boss fight, too. His boss fight is just really, really, like, just really intense. It's very difficult. It took me multiple tries to get, beat Roxas. But the music that plays during his boss fight, I don't know if you've heard this tape, but the music that actually plays when you fight Roxas is called The Other Promise.
Oh yeah, this sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. It's like a kind of a rendition of Roxas's theme, but suited for his boss fight specifically. Mm-hmm. But this is so, like, soft and, like, slower and, like this doesn't seem like your typical, like, boss fight music,
No, it definitely has an air of
like, there's
foreboding almost.
Yeah, there's, like, a lot going on to it.
Like the music itself is like, shit's about to get heavy.
It's just like you're about to be right in your feels. Sora confronts Shion in the Steen of Severance, which is the final area where, you fight all the organization members in 3. The memories of Roxas, which Shion had absorbed, return to him within Sora, and Roxas' heart is freed at last. Roxas, Shion, and Axel go after Xemnas in a coordinated attack, and they take back what connects them, the recusant sigil, X, that had been affixed to Xemnas. I don't know if I explained that to you in the last one, but the recusant sigil is basically the X that gets thrown into everyone's name.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, Roxas, the best boy, I don't know about you, but I'm putting him at S tier.
Yeah, he's S tier for sure. He is the best.
He's definitely S tier. He's one of my personal favorite characters, so I'm definitely willing to put Roxas all the way at S tier.
Although because he isn't like inherently evil, I have a hard time seeing him as like Organization 13.
I would have to show you 350 over 2 days. It kind of goes into a lot of the organization's like personalities and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they're not like inherently evil because a lot of them, so what with the organization, a lot of them, their personalities are based off of memories from when they were human. But obviously, which is weird because Roxas is a lot like Sora, but obviously he was never a human before that. I mean, I guess he was human if you count if you count Sora as his human form, previous human form. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Huh?
S tier.
S tier, for sure. Moving on to the next best boy, AXEL. And also in this, I'm going to judge these guys when on their human forms too, when applicable. Like we obviously have seen their human forms and judge them by that too. So we got AXEL and by, in turn, Lee. AXEL's like by far my favorite character, so I'm willing to put him right at S tier right away. This book describes AXEL as the capricious flurry of dancing flames who becomes a new Keyblade wielder due to his friendship with Roxas. So, literally, like, when he wakes up as his own person, when he wakes up as a human again, because of his memories of Roxas, that's why he goes on this thing and, goes to Yinsen and is like, hey, I want to be a Keyblade wielder.
Yeah, because they start training him to be so, right?
Yeah, because one of his biggest things on why he helps out Sora and why he wants to be a Keyblade wielder is because he craves that connection with Roxas again, and he finds out that Roxas is housed within Sora. So he's like, oh, okay, if I help out Sora, maybe this will be my best chance of, seeing my friend again.
Right.
But there's a part where they're fighting Xemnas, and Xemnas has kind of got Axel down on his knees, and there was one thing from Xemnas is like, there was once a time where I trusted you to deal with traitors, but your betrayal, I forget what word he uses, but basically your betrayal is the worst of all. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what? I'm going to do my best Xemnas voice here. What last words do you have for your superior? And Axel's like, let me think. How about you were never my superior?
Got him.
I'm like, damn. But obviously Lee in Birthplace Sleep, he's so like happy and carefree, and Axel's kind of the same way. He's just as like happy-go-lucky. Like he's a dude. He's like there for his friends, and obviously like you see with Roxas and Shion, he cares a lot about his friends. So he's just, a really good dude all around. So AXEL definitely S tier for me. Mm-hmm. You agree?
Sure.
Are you bored already?
No.
I
just don't have any stake in this game, so I'm just curious to see where you put everybody.
Well, here, how about I give you the book, and then we can talk about stuff.
And I can read stuff?
Yeah. Do that. So next, we got my girl Shion. A girl with black hair who joins the organization as its 14th member. Shion is actually a replica who was created to absorb Sora's memories and power, but she gains self-awareness from interacting with Roxas and AXEL. She chooses of her own free will to return Sora's memories to him, and she disappears in days, in 350 over 2 days. Later, she joins the real Organization 13 in place of Sora, who was supposed to be a vessel for Master Xehanort. So basically, when they have these vessels ready for people to, take over or whatever, so Xehanort to do his thing. And they put Shion in one of those because they were like, oh, okay, well, we're going to try again with Shion, but obviously it didn't work out. And they brought her back. Well, since I put Roxas and AXEL in S tier, I'm willing to put Shion in S tier. Now, there was somebody on...
I have a sneaking suspicion all of these are going to end up in S tier.
Well, a good chunk of them, not all of them. There are a few that I'm definitely going to put lower. But there was one person on, like, because I posted, like, a kind of teaser thing on Reddit, be like, hey, this is my, like, pending S tier. Like, what do you guys think of it? And somebody was like, Shion is overrated, in my opinion. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, how so? Like, just because I was actually genuinely curious, and they did not comment. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you got nothing then, you bitch. But I'm willing to put Shion at S tier because, I mean, I put Roxas and AXEL at S tier. And, I mean, come on, you gotta keep the ice cream trio together.
Well, yeah.
Because, I mean, did I tell you that's the pet name for everyone?
The ice cream trio?
So, like, Sora, Kairi, and Riku are the Destiny Islands trio. Like, Aqua, Terra, and Ventus are the Wayfinder trio. Mm-hmm. And Roxas, AXEL, and Shion are the ice cream trio. Because they always ate ice cream together. These two are next.
Okay.
Looking at the book. So, Shion, S tier.
What is that? Dylan?
Or if you want to do his organization name, Zaldin. So, Zaldin was part of...
The organization names are stupid.
Just because there's a random X in it and you have to switch the name around?
So you basically just combobulated the letters and then slapped an X up in there.
Mm-hmm. So we got both Dylan and Alias. If we want to start with Dylan.
Dylan is an apprentice of Ansem the Wise and serves as a castle guard along with Alias, that is not how I would have pronounced that, in Radiant Garden, excuse me. Like the other apprentices, he becomes a nobody because of Xehanort and ends up as a member of Organization 13. His health isn't stable right after he revives as a human, so he's confined to a bed for a while. After he recovers, he returns to his duties as a guard in Radiant Garden and is seen courteously welcoming King Mickey and others when they visit the castle.
What does it say here for as Zaldin in the organization?
One of the members of Organization 13, Zaldin, manipulates the power of wind with his 6 lances. He's skilled with swords and plans to manipulate Beast in such a way that he turns him into a Heartless, but Sora stops him and he disappears after the intense battle.
I will say with Zaldin, like with Dylan and Alias, like I kind of, after their boss fights and, well, I don't know if you actually like fight Lexaeus and Kingdom Hearts 2, but I know you fight Zaldin in Kingdom Hearts 2 in the Beauty and the Beast world. And his boss fight was kind of challenging, but also it's like there's not much I remember of his character other than just being obsessed with Beast. Like he had a weird obsession with Beast. To be fair, I'll put him at D, and I mean, we could read off Alias too, but
I like how I suggested C tier, and you were like, "No, to be fair, I'll put him in D."
Oh, sorry.
I was like, "That's a step down, my guy." But it's your list.
Do you want to put him in C?
Literally, I don't remember this character at all, so D is fine.
That's kind of why I put him in D too, because it's like other than his boss fight in 2, there's not really much I remember from of his character. And I want to make a quick
disclaimer: like, I have never played these games, but I've watched you play every single one of them.
Like, I almost wanted to introduce this episode, be like, "Hi, I'm Cameron, and I've played a lot of Kingdom Hearts," and then have you be like, "And I'm Caitlin, I've never played Kingdom Hearts."
I've watched him play a lot of Kingdom Hearts. Okay, how do you pronounce this?
This one?
Lexaeus?
Well, yeah, the organization form, Lexaeus. His nobody is Lexaeus.
So, as a nobody, Lexaeus, a quiet, larger-than-life man who boasts a strong man, a silent warrior who overwhelms his enemies with a powerful axe and muscular physique. In Castle Oblivion, he conspires with Vexen?
Vexen, yeah.
Zexion?
Zexion, yes.
Zexion? These are weird-ass names. And challenges Riku, who possesses the power of darkness, to a battle, but the tables are turned on him and he disappears. And
now his human form, Alias.
Also as an apprentice of Ansem the Wise, Alias serves as both a guard and a researcher. He works as a castle guard along with Dylan in Radiant Garden. He becomes a nobody because of Xehanort and ends up as a member of Organization 13. He wakes up as a human in Radiant Garden at the same time as...
Which one?
Lee and Lenzo.
Lee. And
Lenzo?
Ienzo.
Ienzo. Oh, that's an I?
Yep, that's an I.
Okay. These names are weird, man. Where was I? Oh, okay. As he watches over Even and Dylan, who are in poor health.
Evan.
That for sure says Even.
It's supposed to be Evan.
Okay, well, that's dumb.
You're dumb.
Evan and Dylan. Stop making fun of me. Evan and Dylan, who are in poor health, he worries about the whereabouts of the missing members.
Alias, I'm kind of willing to put at D tier 2.
Yeah, put him right there next to Dylan.
Yeah,
names are stupid.
Well, just because they were both, had the same kind of job before they became nobodies. Like, they were both kind of the same. So, I figure it's only fair to put them together at D tier. Not that they're bad characters, other than, like, a boss fight, I don't remember much about them. So, next, we have Ienzo. And his nobody, his organization form, Zexion.
Stupid.
Don't complain to me. Complain to Tetsuya Nomura.
Oh, I plan to. He's going to receive a strongly worded letter.
2 Square Enix. How dare you?
Pick better names.
And then in the next Kingdom Hearts games, they're going to be like, this is Bob.
And Chad.
This is Chet.
A cloaked schemer who uses magic to deceive. A member of Organization 13 who uses a book called a lexicon.
Lexicon. Sure, that sounds right.
As a weapon in battle and is the youngest of the original members. Zexion is a cunning schemer who has a cold side that can lead him to use his comrades as tools for his own purposes. In the end, Riku Replica attacks him and he disappears.
As Ienzo.
When he was a child, Ienzo lost his parents and Ansem the Wise took him in. Later, he participates in the study of hearts as an apprentice of Ansem the Wise.
In Berkeley Sleep. He was reticent.
Oh, he was reticent as a child, but as an adult, he is loquacious and argumentative. He becomes a nobody because of Xehanort and ends up... Why did these people... This fucking Xehanort guy, I swear. And ends up as a member of Organization 13. But after he revives as a human, he works hard in his research at Radiant Garden purely to shed light on the subject of hearts.
Now, his boss fight was definitely a wild one from what I remember, because part of his boss fight was he used that book, and he would trap you in it, and you had to fight off stuff to get out of the book, and then you can take him on. But I know there's not much to him I remember from... I mean, he has a bigger role in Chain of Memories, but as far as Zexion, I'm willing to put him at B tier because not necessarily for his organization form, but for his human form, because he is one of the big, he's crucial to Sora's journey. He's crucial behind the scenes to be hey, this is, what's going on. This is what we're going to do. Plus in Melody and Memory, he's one of the lead people analyzing Kyrie's memories to find out what happened to Sora after he disappeared.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. He seems legit.
And that hair, man.
I would give him B tier on the emo flap alone. I love me a good emo flap.
He just his mannerisms too. I just love. And there's also a scene, I think it's in 3 too, where Ansem the Wise shows up, and this is the first time Ienzo has seen him in a long time, and he starts crying. He's just like, when you left, I was just a boy. He just has this emotional breakdown once Ansem the Wise pops up, and I really felt for him. So I'm willing to put an Ienzo at B tier.
Okay, who do we got next?
Well, now we're into the actual organization members.
Oh, the legit organization members. So we're going to start with King Shit of Fuck Mountain himself.
Master Xehanort.
An aged Keyblade master who has an interest in the Keyblade, X-Blade, and the Keyblade War, both of which are said to be prohibited domains of knowledge, and dedicates his life to recreating them. Xehanort's ambition is to cover the world in darkness in order to purify it and create a new world. To that end, he separates his own heart from his body and transcends time to gather his other selves into a single time period. Although Xehanort makes the true Kingdom Hearts appear, Sora thwarts his ambition.
Now, I like in this, they show Xehanort's, like, changes or whatever. So they obviously have young Xehanort to, older Xehanort, Master Xehanort. But then when he goes, he takes over Terranort. Then Terranort loses his memory and, it's still Terranort, but refers to himself as Xehanort. But that Terranort also formed a nobody in the form of Xemnas. But once that Terranort, I just realized
I don't know how you follow
convoluted
this because this is convoluted.
So somehow Terranort is still able to exist, but like part of him also forms a Heartless and a Nobody. The Nobody is Xemnas, and then the Heartless is Ansem, which at first is just a creature in a dark cloak because it doesn't actually have a form. But over the course of Kingdom Hearts 1, Ansem possesses Riku's body and gets to the form we know him as,
Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
Yes. So with that,
F tier, this guy sucks.
I'm honestly willing to put him at A tier because just for the fact that like this whole time, like he was behind everything. Like he had this like long-term plan. Like he played the long game, and my God, did he win? Are you skipping ahead already?
No, I'm just going through the many levels of Xehanort that we have to go through.
I think there's only...
Because this is
Because there's the Xehanort himself and then young Xehanort, but then we also have, like, Xemnas and Ansem.
I don't think we really need to go through those, do we?
Well, yeah, they're on this list.
It's the same dude.
Well, yeah, but it's different forms of the same dude. They're their own people. See, because in Kingdom Hearts 3, they all exist at the same time. Therefore, they're separate people. Therefore, you're wrong.
Oh my God.
But Xehanort, I'm willing to put at A tier. I mean, he kind of is a dick, but also, like, my God, does he know how to play the long game. Mm-hmm. Game respects game. On the other side of that, young Xehanort. Let's see. This is Master Xehanort as he appeared in his youth. When his brown-robed self from the future, Terra Xehanort's Heartless, tells him he has the ability to travel through time, he gathers in a future time the other Xehanorts from different periods, thus assembling members of the real Organization 13. He also secretly works to lure Sora into the abyss of dreams in order to make him the 13th vessel, but the plan fails. Then he searches for a way to compensate for the missing vessel. Now, young Xehanort, I'm going to put him at C because I'm not necessarily a huge fan of him, but his boss fight in Dream Drop Distance was kind of cool because there was a part in the boss fight where, it has his Keyblade right there.
Mm-hmm. Name unknown.
Name unknown. This is the Keyblade the young version of Xehanort possesses. It seems to have originally resembled the Keyblade called No Name, but Master Xehanort infused it with additional power, which caused it to change into a more sinister-looking
form to resemble his own Keyblade.
There was a part in the boss fight where he would like form a giant clock, and if you didn't defeat this clock in time, he would essentially reset the battle and gain all his health back. So there was definitely a bit of a challenge there.
Dick move.
You know what? I'll move him up at B tier because I'm willing to put Master Xehanort, like his older self, over his younger self because, I mean, I kind of like him as a character. I really wasn't.
Did get more dickish with age.
Yeah, him as a character, especially his younger form, I just wasn't entirely a fan of. I'm a fan of him like in the flashbacks with Ericus, but just him like throughout. So, him throughout 3, I'm just not a huge fan of, because he got owned by Woody. Because, he captured Buzz, and he's just like, blah, 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 heart's darkness. And Woody just steps in front of him, basically, steps up to him, and he's like, whatever you're talking about, I don't care. put Buzz back the way he was, then get lost. I'm like, damn, Woody, somebody put a snake in his boot.
Literally.
All right, so moving on, we have Terra Xehanort. This is the former Master Xehanort who sought a young vessel before taking over Terra's body. Master Xehanort zeroes in on Terra, a guardian of light, who nevertheless has darkness in his heart. The old man's steaming eventually allows him to successfully take over Terra's body. After losing his memory due to the shock from a battle, he becomes an apprentice of Ansem the Wise. However, he grows obsessed with researching darkness and hearts. He steals his master's name and research and banishes him to the realm of nothingness. So you see in this picture, you have regular Terra Xehanort and then this creature behind him. Mm-hmm. This is technically was supposed to be Terra, but he doesn't have like his soul or whatever yet. But he gains it back in 3 because that's how. Because this thing ends up, with the spirit of Terra, ends up saving Aqua and Ventus, and then working with Sora to basically give Terra his heart back. Mm. That being said, I'm putting him at C because he just has the worst delivery of a villain line ever. Because as they're fighting, so you fight him basically in 3, and it looks like you're about to win, but then he releases a bunch of darkness, and because he's not Terra yet, he's still evil. So there's a part where basically he uses these darkness chains to capture Aqua and Ventus and starts slamming them around. And I gotta see if I can find it in here, and I'll just give you that real quick, because just the delivery of this line just kills me. Let's see, scrolling through. There we go. Found her.
Terra! You have to fight the darkness!
You'll never be able to break these chains. They're our bonds.
The line he says next kills me.
You have no power over me!
Is that the best take we could get from
I
that
feel
guy?
like that could have been delivered a little
You
bit
have
better.
no power over me! How generic villain could you sound? But I guess overall with Terra Xehanort, I'm just putting him at C tier because I don't overall like him. I don't entirely dislike him either. So I'll just put him in a good mid ground for that. Plus his boss fight in Birthplace Sleep was pretty annoying to say the least. But I mean, it's challenging, so I'm not gonna harsh him just because I personally had trouble with the fight. But
you can't take it out on the character just because you suck.
All right. I didn't know we were hurting feelings today, but I see how it is. Anyway, next person, please.
Ansem.
Ansem. We have Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
After becoming Terra Xehanort's Heartless, he takes advantage of the darkness in Riku's heart and takes over his body, becoming Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Seeking the key to the door leading to Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts of World's Heart. Okay. He fights Sora, loses, and disappears. Ansem proclaims himself to be somebody who embraced the darkness even after Riku takes his body back. He tells Riku countless times to accept the darkness. In the end, however, he acknowledges Riku's strength.
Mm-hmm. Now, the thing with Ansem, obviously he gained his form after taking over Riku, basically.
He stole it.
Because he was just a creature in a brown robe before taking over Riku. And there's actually now a lot of these too with the organization defeats in 3, there's a lot of character development with a lot of these, and Ansem's I definitely am a fan of too.
Ansem.
What a journey you and I have had.
You know, it's strange. I think I'm gonna miss you.
Your strength is vaster than darkness. I knew I never stood a chance. Part of me wanted to defy my fate. But when the others betrayed us, I found I did not care. And then, nothing else seemed to matter anymore.
Ansem.
What? It is time to move on, boy. There is more to seek. So go forth now and seek it.
And that's what I like about a lot of the organization defeats in 3. Like, a lot of them, obviously you can tell they're, like, about to be recompleted because they have, like, human thoughts again. Mm-hmm. And as far as Ansem, where I would put him, I'm going to put him at A tier. Well, like, I don't like him as much as, like Xemnas or whatever. He is still technically, like, if you played, you know, from the first Kingdom Hearts, he's the first villain we ever meet.
Right.
So he definitely had an impact on, like, the series as a whole. So I'm willing to put Mr. Ansem at A tier. And next we got the head honcho of Organization 13.
The HBIC.
The HBIC himself, Xemnas.
The leader of Organization 13 and the nobody of Ansem the Wise's apprentice, Xehanort. Xemnas heads the organization to create Kingdom Hearts of People's Hearts. That name just seems redundant, but whatever.
So, Kingdom Hearts, it's basically like the moon, but it's where all the hearts collect from the Heartless. And his plan is to use those hearts to eventually give the rest of Organization 13 their own hearts.
Ah.
So that's what they mean by of people's hearts.
Oh, okay. Got it. With the goal of assimilating with it to become a complete person, but Sora stops him.
Literally what I just said.
Later, he is resurrected as a member of the real Organization 13 and appears before Sora. He perplexes Sora countless times with his dignified manner and...
With his dignified manner and the evocative words he speaks in a pompous tone.
Oh, so he's a pompous ass. Okay.
Not necessarily. It's just his personality. Now, I'll play this clip too of his defeat in 3 because I actually really like this scene too.
Bested yet again.
Bested yet again.
I know that you have a heart. What do you feel? Was it worth it?
I feel the emptiness where my companions once stood. I took them for granted.
That's what you get.
And now I have nothing. My first surge of emotion in years. For as long as I can remember. And its loneliness. Do you see? A heart is just pain.
Pain is being human, Xemnas.
Really? It must take incredible strength.
Can confirm.
So, for me, personally, Xemnas... where did I put him? Oh, I already put him up there. Mm-hmm. S tier for me.
Yeah, he's
S tier. Cool. Out of any of the villains throughout the series, he's definitely my favorite because not only is his multi-stage boss fight in 2 is probably my favorite throughout the entire series, but just him as a character, he's just so like calm, cool, and collected. Like, and he's just got this like, air about him that it's like, I mean, even like I can see why people want to join an organization. Like I would join.
I'm very susceptible to cult behavior, so I would 1,000% join Organization 13.
Plus, like Xemnas, like he's just one of my, like I say, he's my favorite villain throughout the entire series. So I'm willing to put him all the way at S tier.
It's Vanitas.
Yes, Vanitas. Would you mind reading his description? Because I cannot read it from here.
Vanitas is a being born of darkness. That Master Xehanort... Let me start again because I read that wrong. Vanitas is a being born from the darkness that Master Xehanort removes from Ventus's heart. In order to train Ventus as a being of light, he scatters his negative emotions throughout the worlds in the form of unversed. He unites with Ventus and obtains the Keyblade.
X-Blade. Just so it's not confusing.
Okay. He obtains... I thought you couldn't read from there.
Well, I can clearly see it says X-Blade from here. I'm not blind.
Albeit incomplete, but he loses to Ventus in a battle and disappears. Even after he's resurrected as a member of the real Organization 13, he targets the heart of his other half, Ventus, who still sleeps within Sora.
So Vanitas, otherwise known as Haley Joel Osment, using his big boy voice.
His big boy voice.
Like, it's literally the same thing. So, like, Haley Joel Osment obviously voices Sora, but he also voices Vanitas, but he uses, like, a deeper voice for Vanitas. And I think before this, I wasn't necessarily sure, like, why he ended up looking like Sora. Because before, when he was formed, he didn't look like Sora. But after the point where Ventus, connected with Sora, then Vanitas kind of took on the form of Sora, so that's what he looks like.
So there's 4 characters that look identical then.
Essentially, so...
Sora,
Sora's his own
Roxas, Vanitas, and Ventus.
So Vanitas looks like Sora because of, eventually when Ventus' heart connected to Sora. And the reason Roxas looks like Ventus is because of Ventus' connection to Sora. So when Sora formed a nobody, it took on the form of Ventus because Ventus was the only one of the other hearts with him.
I know I said this last time, but this is fucking convoluted.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, don't yell at me.
Anyway, I would put him in B tier. He seems pretty cool.
I'm gonna put him at C.
Oh, okay.
You said B. I mean, I'm willing to put him at C. Mostly because he just like, while his boss fight is cool, him as a character, he just seems like too edgy,
Well, yeah, he's a creature born from darkness.
I mean, he is literal darkness, but he just seems more like every time he pops on screen, he's like, "Oh, it's Ventus, my baby brother." Like, he just seems like too stereotypical edgelord. So, I mean, I'll put him at C tier just to be, give it a fair ground. I know I'm going to post this later and people are going to disagree, but hey, that's the fun of posting stuff on, the internet. You get different opinions.
On the worldwide interwebs.
Of course, you're going to get people that are like, "Oh, this is an interesting point. I disagree with this. Here's why." And then you get the people like, "Well, you're fucking stupid
Here's
for
why you're wrong
having...
about my favorite game ever."
Here's why you're wrong, and you're also stupid and ugly.
Oh, okay.
Next, we got Zigbar, and we also have his human form, Braid. Now, there's something about Zigbar that I will mention after we read this, but
you go right ahead
because I forgot to mention it. I forgot to mention it last episode. One of the longest-serving members of the original organization, who now works behind the scenes as a member of the real Organization 13. Zigbar has been collaborating with Master Xehanort since the days when he was still human. In contrast to his appearance of having a sharp eye, he also has a laid-back personality and takes a mocking attitude with his opponents. Terra gave him the scars on his eye and face. Now, if we look at his human form, Braid, he was a guard back on Radiant Gardens. He was one of Ansem the Wise's apprentices and worked as a guard in Radiant Garden, but after hearing about Kingdom Hearts and Keyblades from Master Xehanort, he decides to help him with his plan. So, all the way back in Birth by Sleep, obviously Xehanort back then worked with Braid, and then Braid was like, "Oh, this whole Kingdom Hearts and Keyblade business seems pretty cool. I'm gonna, work with this guy." But there's actually a secret with Zigbar that I forgot to mention last episode.
What's his secret?
So there's a secret...
Does he have a secret?
So there's a secret ending to... Well, not a secret ending, but epilogue to Kingdom Hearts 3, where we go back into the Keyblade graveyard after everything, and we see the Keyblade that Xehanort had, No Name, fall out of the sky into the sand. And then we see a hooded figure pop up in a robe, and, they say right back where it belongs. And they have the black box from like the Union games, Union Cross, and he's standing in the middle of this like 4-way intersection in the Keyblade Graveyard, and out of the 4 paths, the 4 of the 5 masters from Union Cross show up because they were summoned there, and we find out that the person in the black cloak is Lushu, but Lushu has taken on the form of Zigbar. So Lushu basically throughout time has plopped himself into different vessels, and he is currently in the body of Zigbar. So Lushu is Zigbar.
Interesting.
And I think for that reason alone, I'm willing to put him at A tier. Because like, as far as like boss fights and stuff, his 1 and 2 is like, it's kind of annoying at some points, but it's one I remember the most, and one I actually kind of had fun with. Yeah, to see right here, it explains that whole thing of him being Lushu. But, and just also his character too, like he's just a cocky bastard, and it's like, you love to hate him, you know? So I'm willing to put him at A tier. Alright, next, we got Vexen, one of the longest serving members of the organization. Vexen is prideful and arrogant. He played an important role in doing research for the organization, and not only has he taken the lead in advancing experiments, he's achieved major results. Both Riku Replica and Shion are fruits of his research. He's a part of the Rio Organization 13 as a backup member. His human form, Evan, was an apprentice of Ansem the Wise. Evan works as a researcher in Rainy Garden. He, along with his fellow apprentices, looks after Ienzo, who lost his parents. After he returns to human form, his health isn't stable, and he's confined to bed for a while. So, in the events of 3, so Vexen, obviously he's been with the organization a long time, like they said, and he had a huge role to play in Chain of Memories, doing the replica program, being responsible for Riku Replica, and also during the events of 3, he kind of acts as like a double agent, working for Ansem the Wise, and basically wants to steal like a replica to use for good to revive, somebody to help out Sora and them. So with Vexen, I'm willing to put him at B tier because he's not not one of my personal favorite characters, but also without him, if it wasn't for his efforts, there wouldn't be Riku Replica. There wouldn't be replicas in general, so we wouldn't have Shion, and eventually, Namine wouldn't have been reformed. So,
Right.
As much as I don't really like his character, because he just seems like cartoonishly evil sometimes.
Cartoonishly evil.
But, I'm willing to put him at B tier, because, like I said, without him, no Riku Replica, no Shion, no Namine.
Right.
Now, if we want to explain the replica program... The program, which Vexen heads, is meant to copy the abilities of the Keyblade wielders, Sora and Riku, using fragments of their memories and make those abilities the organization's own. Shion 2 is a replica named... Is that an I or is that a 1?
It's an I.
Alright, who was created to absorb Sora's memories and power. Vexen's annihilation forces a drastic change of plans, but with his return in 3, the program is restarted in order to help facilitate Master Xehanort's true goal. So part of the organization obviously uses some of the replicas for their own good, because they believe Vexen is still working with them, but Vexen is kind of a double agent. He along with Demix...
Treachery.
There's treachery afoot.
It was me the whole time.
J'accuse! But yeah, he works as a double agent, kind of providing the real organization with replicas, but also having those replicas ready for, to help out Sora and stuff, and him along with Demix kind of take care of that. So, for me, I'm willing to put him at B tier, just like I said, without him, there wouldn't be any of some of my favorite characters. So, with that, we move on to Sayax. Dorian, I don't need your opinion.
Sayax. Okay. A blue-haired young man with a cross-shaped scar on his forehead. Xemnas trusts Sayax deeply, and when he works as Xemnas' close aide in Organization 13. Okay. He almost never expresses emotion, but he has a strong interest in hearts and through knowledge of how to hurt them. Later on, it's revealed that his true goal in Organization 13 is to save a girl who was a test subject in the experiments.
His human form was Isa, and him and Lee hung out, were best friends in, the events of Birth by Sleep.
Don't grab him by his scruff.
Well, if he would stop yelling at me. Let's see, Isa, a normal boy who lives
I'm a real boy.
A normal boy who lives in Radiant Garden, in contrast to Lee, his cheerful and frivolous best friend. Isa has a mature and calm personality. Sometimes he chides Lee for being eager to interact with anyone and everyone. So
he's like the big brother of the two of them.
Literally, him and Lee are like two sides of a coin, but they're obviously really good friends. And I'm willing to put him at A tier because, like, in 358 over 2 days, he has a lot of importance in it. Mm-hmm. Like, he basically runs, like, the whole thing. And, well, Zemnis is kind of in charge of everyone's missions, but Cyrus is constantly want to be like, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this. His boss fight is insane. Like, part of his boss fight, he goes into what's called berserk mode, where he's basically invincible for a good while, and it's insane.
Isn't a berserker from an anime?
I think it's a name of an anime, but basically he goes into berserk mode where his eyes are like glowing yellow, and he's invulnerable for a while.
Sick.
I think it's the first time in Kingdom Hearts 2 where I had a boss fight and I was just like, oh shit! His whole thing, his defeat in 3 really got me too, because obviously he's regaining his humanity, and him and Axel have a really touching moment. And obviously we see at the end of 3 that he regains his human form and hangs out with Axel, Roxas, and Shion again. Along with Hainer, Pensanola, and Twilight Town, sitting on the cloud tower eating ice cream.
Cute.
So he has like a full redemption. So I'm putting him at A tier.
We stand a good redemption.
Actually, you know what? I'm moving him to S tier. Because, just because his whole connection with Axel and everything, I'm willing to move him up to S tier. Sound fair?
Sure.
I'm asking the wrong person for this.
Again, no stake in the game.
This is exactly why I'm having you take over the theme for next month.
I have a couple theme ideas.
All right, well, we'll get to that when we get to that. Oh my god. Anyway, move on. Ya yuts.
Demix. A free-spirited member of the organization who is lighthearted with everyone. Although it is generally accepted that combat doesn't suit him, sometimes Demix fights using his ability to control water by playing a musical instrument called a sitar. Well, excuse me, a sitar. In 3, he's told that he's a backup for a replica, which further decreases his motivation, which is already low at the best of times.
Yeah, Demix kind of got the shit end of the stick there. Like, obviously a lot of people meme his boss fight in 2 because he's able to control water. And people, I'm sure a lot of Kingdom Hearts players have, PTSD from Dance Water Dance! And, like, literally his whole personality, he's just a bro. He just wants to chill.
He's just a bro.
He's literally just a bro. Especially from the 358 over 2 days manga. Like, he's just, actually, I gotta show you, I think I screenshotted it, but there's a part where, this is after Shion is kind of, like, had been quiet for days, and Roxas is trying to figure out what he did wrong, so Axel is like, well, sometimes, her people's switch flips or whatever. Yeah. They were in a bad mood. So Roxas is questioning the whole like flipping with the switch thing. So he comes up to Roxas comes up to Demix, who had just come out of a shower, and he says, "Demix, have you ever flipped a girl's switch?" And Demix is like, "What?" And then Demix is like, "What? Why are we suddenly in this kind of conversation?" And then Roxas, "If not, it's okay. Sorry for asking." And he's like, Demix says, "Wait a minute, I've done it a lot, really?" And Roxas is like, "What was it like?" Like, Demix is just a bro.
He's just a bro.
I'm willing to put him at B tier because, I mean, I feel like he got treated very unfairly through the whole thing. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of fair to put him in the same tier as Vexen because him and Vexen end up working together with the whole replica thing. Because, I mean, without Demex's help, you know, they wouldn't have been able to reform Naminé, because Demex is the one that also worked as a double agent to bring Ansem the Wise the body they needed for Naminé.
Right.
So I'm going to put Demex at B tier. And I can safely say with that, it's Demex time. Next, we got Luxord. Where's his description? Oh, it's right there. An organization member who never lets his gentlemanly and complacent attitude falter. Luxord is a gambler through and through, preferring to fight under predetermined rules and fair conditions, and he enjoys dangerous games in which he wages his own life. He doesn't have much loyalty towards the real Organization 13, but he executes his missions without fail. Luxord is definitely up there with one of my favorites too, because he has this like gentlemanly air about him.
Yeah.
And he's very like, he's not just like ruthless, like, oh, I'm gonna fight you to kill you. I'm like, no, we do this fairly, and win or lose, I really don't care. It's all about the name of the game.
Yeah. He's
like he does,
gentleman.
like he's not even like, even when you fight him in 2, he's not about killing Sora. He's just about like having a good fair fight. So I'm willing to put him all the way at A tier just because of that. And also, I love in his defeat in 3, as he's talking to Sora, because, you know, obviously by now, after Sora defeats each member, there's a specific cutscene where they're talking to Sora before they fade away. And Luxord is, you know, congratulating Sora, and he's like, you know, well done, you did really well. And then hands him a card, and Sora's like, what's this? And he's like, a WoW card. It's something to turn the tide. So basically, in his dying moments, he gives him something to help. And Sora's just like, hey, when you're a human again, let's have a fair fight. Let's have a, fight, when you're human again. And Luxord is like, you know what? I would like that.
Aww.
So I'm really, like, I gotta pay mad respect to Luxord because, like I said, he's a gentleman through and through. He believes in a fair fight.
Okay, so I'm jumping ahead to the next person.
I was just going to say move on to
I for sure thought Marluxia was the blonde.
The blonde.
Piggy tail.
Oh, you might be thinking of Larcene.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of related, but anyway. Marluxia.
Although Marluxia is that's 6, right?
No, that's 11? XI? Because X is 10. So that'd be 11.
Is X 10? I thought X was 5.
I think X is 10. Oh my god.
Hold, please.
Alright. You look that up, I'll read this. Although Marluxia is number meh on and a newcomer to the organization, he's an influential person who He's an influential person entrusted with the important task of supervising Castle Oblivion, something that the senior members were passed over for. He has great confidence and ambition, and he conspires with Larcene to try to take over the organization, but sadly, the plan ends in failure. He seems to have some sort of connection to Laurium, a Keyblade wielder in ancient times. Yeah, because they're the same person.
So you were right. I was thinking of V, which is the Roman numeral for 5.
I was going to say V is 5. But with Marluxia, now obviously he was one of the big head people in Chain of Memories, kind of overlooking Castle Oblivion. And if you look to, because he does have a human form too, in the form of Laurium. Who, that was all the way back in like the Union games. Let's see, Laurium, a young Union leader searching for his missing sister. A Keyblade wielder from a time so ancient it's now spoken of in fairy tales. Laurium is one of the 5 dandelions who serve as Union leaders, and he searches for his missing younger sister. He interacts with Elrena on occasion. Elrena being Larcene's human form.
Sure.
But his whole thing back there was, he was obviously looking for his sister Strelitzia, who in the Union games was also she was a Union leader too, but something happened to her and she was attacked by darkness, and basically her copy of the book of Prophecies was taken. Let's see, Strelitzia, Laurium's younger sister, Strelitzia, is attacked by someone and disappears from the world not long after Ava appoints her as Union leader. When this happens, the rulebook Strelitzia received from Ava is taken away. So the thing with Strelitzia is, I think that's who Sora is with now in Kingdom Hearts 4. Because if you look back to the teaser trailer for 4, Sora, he wakes up in this like apartment thing. He answers the door, and there's a girl standing there, and it looks dead ass like Strelitzia. So it's made to believe that, this is how. So now that in 4, obviously with the organization members they get defeated in 3, they're going to be human forms, and maybe Sora is going to help Strelitzia, reunite with Lorium again, reunite with Marluxia.
Sorry, just when you said the thing about so-and-so, for some reason in my head, I finished your sentence being like, the thing about so-and-so is that she sucks. And then I couldn't get off
So
of
here's
that
why
thought.
you're stupid.
So here's why you suck.
Let's see.
But no, that's interesting.
After Sora defeats him, Marluxia remembers something important. He reflexively laughs at the timing of it. Sora watches kindly as Marluxia says his heart is remembering how to feel. Marluxia smiles.
That's so sad.
Marluxia smiles, saying he's on the cusp of reclaiming his identity and purpose for being, and he thanks Sora as he disappears. Mm-hmm. So I think just based on that, I gotta put him. I'm gonna put him at A.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put him at A just because.
Also, he has a cool name, so.
Marluxia.
Yeah.
Just because he was. Kind of going back to boss fights, because I keep forgetting to mention that, even though that's one of the things I mentioned I was going to base these people off of. He has like a 2-phase fight in Chain of Memories, and just the setting of it was like really cool. Like, at first you fight him in like this big room just by himself, and then the final phase is him along with this big ass like nobody creature, and like his whole aesthetic is roses.
Yeah.
So he's just very like he's just very flowy, and he's just very flowy. He's just got a good air about him, and it's like, you know what? I would definitely work with him.
Hey, game recognized game.
Game recognized game. So I'm willing to put him at A tier. So who do we got next? Turn the page.
Larxene.
Next we got Larxene.
With her fucking bug antlers.
The only female member of the organization aside from Xion, Larxene wields knives and lightning. Although beautiful on the outside, she has a rude and cold-hearted personality, and she's uncontrollable when she gets angry. Hurting others gives her pleasure, and she takes a haughty attitude towards those of a lower rank than her. At Castle Oblivion, she colludes with Marluxia and schemes to take over the organization in Chain of Memories. When she meets Sora again, she acts like a big sister, calling him kiddo and telling him to behave himself.
Yeah, I don't like her, actually.
Yeah, she's kind of really arrogant, but like something about her
seems like kind of a bitch.
I mean, kinda, yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna tentatively put her at B tier for now, but I'm gonna read more of this. Let's see. Larxene teases Vexen relentlessly when his plan fails. Even when his facial expression changes over his research being ridiculed, she mocks him for being predictable. So basically, she's just antagonistic to like everybody she comes across. I didn't watch too much of the Union game, so I don't know how she was as her human form, Elrena.
The little bit of her that I know is the end of the whole Let It Go sequence.
Oh, when she pops up and she's like, is Anna gonna be a Princess of Light or Elsa? I wanna know.
Yeah, there's something about her on screen that I'm like, God, shut up.
She's very arrogant and just, yeah.
Because I think I even said that. I was like, who cares? Go away.
Oh yeah, they even mentioned it in here. In Arendelle, Larxene appears before Sora and company as they're chasing after Elsa, who wants to be left alone. Larxene imprisons them in a wall of ice to stop them. Doesn't say anything about what she says, but anyway.
Be like, for what reason? Like, you could have just poofed in and out of existence. Like,
after learning that the members of the real Organization 13 are going to be made into vessels for Xehanort, Larxene proposes to Marluxia that they try to take over the organization again. At the same time, she bursts out laughing when she hears that Demets is a backup member, saying he's dumb as a brick. I mean, she's just a bitch to Demets for no goddamn reason.
What'd he ever do to you? Damn.
Like, literally, he's just trying his best, and Larxene is just like, you're just stupid. A cereal bowl will be a better member than you.
Not the cereal bowl.
When she, in her defeat, so there's not much to say about her boss fight. I mean, it's your typical affair. I mean, she uses the power of lightning, so as long as you are able to get around that, she's pretty easy for the most part. Talking about her defeat, Larxene reveals she was a part of the real Organization 13 because she was along for the ride. Sora asks, with who? But she smirks and replies, my secret, before disappearing. So it's kind of clued in that so back in Union, obviously she and Marluxia back then knew each other because, Elrena was her human form, she was a young Keyblade wielder who was concerned about Lorium. Elrena is a Keyblade wielder and one of the Dandelions. She and Lorium are acquainted, and she always takes a polite, calm tone when talking with him. She seems to have some kind of connection to Larxene, because they're literally the same person. Since she's acquainted with Strelitzia, Lorium's missing sister, Lorena listens to him talk about how he's looking for her. Later, while investigating on her own, she sees a vision of Strelitzia in an empty house. So, that kind of makes me believe that something along the lines of somewhere between her being a human and her joining the organization is where she got her kind of, I guess to put it lightly, bitchy personality. Yeah. But as far as ranking her, you know what? I'm going to move her down to C because, I don't necessarily hate her, but I don't necessarily, really like her either. She's kind of just middle road for me. I would say that's fair. You think? Because she's just way too antagonistic for her own good. And the last one I have on this list is Dark Ritu.
I love the notion of, making a character evil is just putting dark in front of their name.
A member of the real Organization 13 who takes the form of a 15-year-old Ritu. Dark Ritu has mastered the power of darkness and boasts that his finest hour was when Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, took over his body. He's trying to gather data from Sora and others for his experiment to use conflict to recreate a heart. He says that Ritu's heart was brought from the past and transferred to a vessel in order to become a member of the real Organization 13, but it's actually the heart of Ritu replica from the past. So, this Ritu was formed from one of the empty vessels from the heart of Ritu replica when he was possessed by Ansem in the past. Mm-hmm. So, obviously there's the good Ritu replica that's within, normal Ritu, and then you got this Ritu who is basically evil Ritu that was formed into a new body.
Sure.
Which we first see in, it says appears in 3, but technically Ritu replica of evil Ritu first appeared in Chain of Memories. Ritu replica is a replica created from data on Ritu by Vexen of the organization. Although Naminé is manipulating his memories, he turns on Marluxia to protect her. Later, he challenges the real Ritu to a fight, but he loses and disappears into the darkness. So the whole thing with Dark Ritu, you obviously fight him at the end of the game when, you're taking on the rest of the organization members trying to do the Xehanort. Mm-hmm. But earlier in 3, when you get to the Big Hero 6 world, mm-hmm. he steals a bunch of this data because, there's no specifics on exactly what he does, but basically he was using data of the fights with him, the Dark Cubes and everything, mm-hmm. to resurrect Baymax from the first Big Hero 6 movie, because the Big Hero 6 world in Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of takes place after the first movie, mm-hmm. but Dark Ritu is able to go into a dimension, the dimension that the first Baymax got lost in, and bring him back and use him to try to fight Sora, which obviously they defeat evil Baymax. So now there's the original Baymax and the new Baymax that Hero had created. Mm-hmm. So with Sora's help, they actually revive both Baymaxes. So both the original Baymax and the new Baymax, exist at the same time. Huh. But with Dark Ritu, F.
The single one in F.
Fuck Dark Ritu.
Yeah, he seems kind of...
he's just... Say, who are you? I'm you. No, I'm me. I'm me, he says.
It's like the fucking Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Just
stupid.
Literally. That's literally like in Chain of Memories when Ritu fights Ritu Replica. That's literally the vibe I got. Just the Spider-Man's just, ha! You!
Yeah.
Officers, arrest this man!
Imposter.
I'm the real Spider-Man. No, I'm the real Spider-Man.
Right. Just fucking convoluted nonsense.
Right. I mean, Ritu Replica, like I said, I definitely liked him in, I liked his character in, well, I liked his importance to the Big Hero 6 world, but beyond that, there was, like, nothing else from the rest of the game that really stood out to me about him, other than him getting defeated by, you know, Ritu. The good Ritu Replica that was in, Ritu, let's see, Ritu becomes aware that Dark Ritu is actually Ritu Replica from the past. After Ritu Replica takes Darker Ritu's heart out, he leaves the empty replica so Ritu so it can be used as a vessel for Namine, and then he disappears. Because when Ritu defeats Dark Ritu Replica obviously takes his heart out, and then Ritu was just like, how about you take the vessel, you know, you can be your own person. And Ritu Replica was like, well, no, you're already here. The world only needs one of you.
Yeah.
So
he gives himself up to save Namine.
Basically, he gives himself up so that Namine can become his own person.
Her own person.
You know what? I'll put that at C. I'll put him at C then, just for that reason.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
Other than that, fuck him.
Fuck.
But I think that's all the organization members here, because the rest of this list, you know, the tier maker list that I have doesn't list these other people, which is the other people in this are Maleficent, Pete. Who else? And that's it. So I guess with that we can close the book on this episode.
But
But
I mean, I cracked into it at the beginning, so
can't
really judge.
To review this list, we have at S tier we have Roxas, Axel, Xion, Xemnas, Syax. In A tier, we have Master Xehanort, Ansem, Zigbar, Luxord, Marluxia. B tier, we have Ienzo, Yun Xehanort, Vexen, Demix. C tier, Terra Xehanort, Vanitas, Larcene, Dark Ritu. And D tier, Zaldin and Letius.
I like how we have a Xehanort in almost every tier.
Literally, like, here is Xehanort, there is Xehanort, everywhere is Xehanort.
That name is going to be really triggering for me one day, I can already tell.
Here are Heartless, there are Heartless, everywhere are Heartless. Old man Xehanort had a scheme.
Oh my
E-I-E-I-O.
God.
Because that is going to be really annoying. But anyway, I guess that'll do it for this episode. Now I gotta wait and see if everything's still recording. Okay, we're good. But I guess with that, how do you feel about this whole thing?
Yeah, it's fun.
You don't really care one way or another, do you?
Not really, I'll be honest, but you're having fun and that's all that matters.
I mean, the main reason why I liked having you on this is just, you know, like an outside opinion.
Plus, for my theme next month, you're gonna be like, oh my god, who the hell cares?
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna fucking deep dive into some shit. So.
But, I mean, it was kind of nice. This idea for the tier list just kind of really popped into my head. And I was like, you know what? It would be nice to have an unbiased opinion. So, if you agree or disagree, now I'm going to be posting this on my Reddit, Midwest Crisis 93. And, you know, or if you just look on the Kingdom Hearts Reddit, you'll see it pop up at some point. So you can go on there, agree, disagree, and probably share some of your opinions in next week's episode if I find some that are interesting. But I think with that, I think it's a good place to end this episode. So I hope you enjoyed. If you like what I do, if you like what we do, new episodes every Wednesday. No, I almost said Wednesday.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday. God, I'm losing it.
It's alright, it's almost Friday. We're almost there.
Links in the description for, you know, social medias and whatnot. But with that, drink your water or beverage of choice. Do positive things out there.
Drink your water, you dehydrated, filthy rats.
I've been Cameron.
I've been Kate.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Nerds out.